Welcome back to the SSL. I'm Tasteless. With me is Wolf. And we had a pretty incredible best of 3 there. Huge upset.
Yeah, a huge upset already. Innovation, one of our 3 Terran players, and one of the big favorites of the tournament. One of the best players we had of all time in Heart of the Swarm, one of the top players at the end of its lifetime, is now out of this tournament, all-in twice. And, it really does kind of make you think about how harsh this format is for some of these players right now.
Absolutely. And I don't want to sound like a dark prophet here, but let's keep in mind that a lot of the players that we saw who were very good in Wings of Liberty did not do well in Heart of the Swarm. We don't know if the players who are really dominant in Heart of the Swarm are in fact going to do very well in Legacy of the Void. So I'm just going to put that out there. You don't have to take too much from that since we haven't even had that many Legacy of the Void games yet. But is that an upset, or will this maybe be a trend? We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's what we'll have to wait and see. Now, let's talk about these 2 up-and-coming players that we're about to watch right now. soO, one of the best Zerg players in Korea, considered to be the best player getting runner-up at all the tournaments.
Look at his hand. He's beckoning to me, Wolf. I feel myself getting closer and closer to the monitor. Now, good to have this guy back, ByuN.
This guy has not been in a televised match since the 2013 GSL Season 1 of Codes, where he dropped out in the round of 32. He has not played any offline matches that were televised in years. People make jokes that he's been in Casper jail. No one knows where he's been. He has not attended many qualifiers. Just in Legacy, he started attending qualifiers. He was invited to Home Story Cup, decided not to attend. Everyone was wondering, is he ever going to play in the booth again? He's here today. It's real. This is happening, Tastes. We are going to see soO versus ByuN.
I would love to see another upset. I am less hopeful for ByuN here. If you guys are newer to StarCraft 2, and I know a lot of you guys might have said, I've been watching for a long time, a couple of years, you still might not be familiar with ByuN at all. There was a period of time in the GSL where this guy had the longest games on record statistically. Yeah. He might have some long games here.
That's right. Now we're going to take a look at this interview really quick. I'll get that briefly translated afterwards.
우승을 했었는데 딱히 그때 특별히 열심히 했던 건 없었고 그냥 편하게 했었는데 그게 더 잘 된 것 같아요.
중국 X팀에 소속되어 있는 테란 변현우라고 합니다. 공백기가 있었는데 손목 문제도 있고요. 제일 가장 큰 이유는 제 실력에 자신감이 너무 없었어요. 공허에 우선 와서는 조금 실력에 자신감이 생겨가지고 한번 참가해보자 했는데 그렇죠.
변현 선수가 온라인 대회에서 이렇게 최강자라는 그 소문이 많더라고요. 딱히 걱정되는 거 없고 그냥 군심 때도 제가 잘했으니까 공허유선 때도 제가 더 잘할 것 같아요.
네, 군단의 심장 후반기 때는 어윤수 선수랑 레드에서 자주 만났거든요. 그때는 제가 아주 약간 더 많이 이겼는데 저인지 모르셨나 봐요.
방송에서 되게 긴장 많이 하시는 것 같더라고요.
준우승을 많이 했다는 기사는 많이 접했어요.
저는 긴장 별로 안 하니까 제가 더 유리하게 할 수 있을 것 같아요.
좀 불쌍하다 그냥 그런 생각을 안 했어요.
목표는 우승이죠.
일단 바로 앞 경기 어윤수 선수부터 이기는 게 목표입니다.
16년 와서는 열심히 하려고 하거든요. 응원 많이 해주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
어윤수 선수 이겨가지고 이제부터 좋은 모습 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
ByuN gave one of the most badass interviews I have ever seen in StarLeague. soO basically said he's confident, he's not nervous. He was one of the best Zergs in Heart of the Swarm. ByuN was basically not relevant in Heart of the Swarm. He says he plays a lot of online tournaments. This is offline. This is my arena. ByuN said he's met soO many times on the ladder. He beat him most of the time. He's like, he won most of the time they meet on the ladder. He says soO might not even know that was him when they met on the ladder, but he's encountered him many times, destroyed him online, and he's feeling very confident. He says his new start starts today.
That's what it's like for everybody I've faced on the ladder. I've beat them all. They probably didn't know it was me, but it was me. So in case you were wondering, that was me. No, look, ByuN is somebody who plays very well, but not as well in the booth, and that is a different beast. We see a lot of guys. Oh, now I'm forgetting his name. This was a while back on GSL. Somebody tweet this at me. There was a guy who was #1 at the time on ladder, Terran player, like officially, and had been #1 for most of the season.
In Legacy or like a while ago?
No, this was in Heart of the Swarm.
Okay.
I don't know why the name's escaping me, but we were talking about it back in GSL, and it was cool. He did very well, but I believe he lost in the best of 5 he was playing in, or either that or didn't get out of the group.
Sure.
But we'll see how ByuN does here. ByuN, I've had the chance to meet with him briefly. I'm not on a social level with most of these pro gamers since we have so many of them.
Sure.
But when I have had the chance to talk to him, he seems very introspective, a bit
He seems
introverted.
like a sage almost, like
Yeah.
he's like he just kind of does his own quiet thing, and he's going to slowly be in the background and train. And that's what he said is his goal is first and foremost to defeat soO tonight, and that's where his new start begins.
And to expand off of that, I feel like you can really break down pro gamer personalities into just two types. You get players more like ByuN, or for example, Innovation. Very, like I said, introspective, kind of deep in thought. Not necessarily the most social, most gregarious personality types you could expect to see out there. You get other players like soO. He's pretty charismatic. I like he's always smirking, talking a little bit of trash, and even a more intensified version of that, somebody like Parting or MC. But when you take these players who are like ByuN in that personality type, occasionally they have a harder time when they are playing in front of live audiences, when they do know the whole world's watching. And SSL is a very different beast from the ladder, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how he does here, especially against a player as accomplished as soO, easily one of the best Zerg players, in fact, of all time. Anyways, going into our next best of 3 here in the SSL. All right, it started up on our biggest map here in the SSL. In the bottom left, in the red, our Zerg player, he is soO!
One of the kings of this studio, of this arena. But his opponent to the bottom right in blue, the fan favorite tonight, it's ByuN, the king of the online tournaments. You name an online tournament that's happened since the beginning of the beta, he's played it, he probably won it. This is his first offline event in years. People wondered if he was even going to show up today, but he's here, and he's got a plan, he's got an idea. He wants to defeat soO, who's won multiple tournaments. He's won the Kespa Cup, for example. He's been at multiple finals, and is actually, won
record-breaking, in fact,
Yeah.
for being in the finals. Not winning, but being in the finals, getting that silver medal.
one of the top finishers in Pro League for individual wins on a top team, SK Telecom, the team that was back-to-back in Pro League finals and is the most recent winner of Pro League. So this guy is the favorite, but we just saw a Titan fall. We just saw another SKT player just earlier lose 2-0, so we'll see what happens in this series as well.
Going for a quick command center here, not the quickest. He is going to follow that up, pair that with a Reaper.
Now, ByuN is known for his aggression. He's known to be a bit aggressive and cheesy, and the haters for ByuN on the internet say he just figured out the game a little bit faster, but they think that he might fall off the map. But he's doing a very similar opening to what we saw Innovation do with a quicker CC into the Reaper, and we see soO again playing safer, gets a fast Zergling speed, gets that quick gas. He's going to skip the Roachborn for now, but still 2 drones in that extractor.
I really can't say this enough. I love the rate the game picks up here in Legacy of the Void. It really is so cool. You get right into the action, expansions even faster. The micro comes out even quicker. And here's a dance we're probably going to be seeing for the time being here in TVZ, in the current meta, in this matchup. The 4-lings there to simply distract and buy time so the Reaper can't kill any drones. Ultimately, then the Queen does come out, zoning the Reaper out permanently until more Reapers can come along, if he does in fact choose to make any more Reapers.
Sure.
In this case, it doesn't look like that's going to be what his aim is.
Yeah, it's very similar to Heart of the Swarm in that regard for this matchup. Sometimes you see bigger commitments, as you said, but yeah, not in this case. We do see a fast lair again here for soO. This is not necessarily going to mean that we're going to see the same sort of Nidus play that we saw earlier, especially because he committed 100 gas to that Ling speed early on. So let's see what soO's got planned here. Could be quick Mutus, and he has not yet added a Roachborn. Only 1 Reaper, though, so he knows whatever he does could be kept a secret. If he blocks the ramp, tough to get in the main base on this map. You got to jump twice.
Also very clear right now to soO that ByuN's teching up. Since he sees that 1 Reaper, obviously he would not assume that there are a bunch of Reapers hiding somewhere. Either that or that's not a thing just yet in the meta. So he should be expecting some kind of tech up, and in this case, it's going to be a quick medevac for some drops.
That's right. Now, with the medevac coming out here very quickly, he definitely will have that opportunity to put that aggression on into the main base, but with a lair coming up here too, the defense will be ready for soO as well. Now let's see his choice. The lair is finished. Most likely will be a Spire here. He's waiting for that 200 gas. And there it is. So it's going to be a quick Spire. Drop is going to come out and grab these Hellions that are in the middle of the map. And without the Mutalisk at first, he will have to rely initially on his Queens and a few Speedlings to hold off this Hellion drop.
So it's going to be a little bit of scrappy defense here from soO. But bear in mind, if he loses the Medevac and the Hellions and it doesn't do any damage, the counterattack here is going to be very strong. But there's a window here where soO is going to be pretty weak.
Now he does send Overlords out, but ByuN's control is good. It's only just now been spotted this drop. The Queens instantly coming back. The Lings need to come back as well.
Yeah, Lings have not been moved just yet. There they are. They're going now. Drones being evacuated. Already some kills coming down here.
Oh man, 4 drones killed already. He can just pick up and leave though.
Oh, he is targeting down the Medevac. Oh!
Oh, so low. Taste is down to 22 health. Fans getting freaked out about that. There's a lot of ByuN fans in the studio tonight. So many, actually. He's definitely the fan favorite in this studio. Now he's following this up with a Liberator push with a lot more Hellions. This is not an all-in. It's just a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he might try to go behind the expansion and just start picking off drones from there. Really, the focus right now for defense is from soO here.
He can also use that Liberator to help zone Lings that chase down his Hellions, but looks like he is going to do, as you said, and come behind this mineral line. There are several Queens here, but the drones will need to be evacuated.
Okay, doing some damage over there, but 3 Queens going to come up here from the side. No, he wants to make sure the Liberator can't get out. The Liberator's not being moved. ByuN's going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, but meanwhile, drones are being chased. A lot of Lings do come over to protect them, and I don't know if that was worth it, but meanwhile, while the Queens were away, 4 more Hellions in the main base, and that spawning pool does not make a good journey for those drones.
Oh my god, he lost the Medevac. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. If he loses the Medevac specifically and the Hellions, and by the way, he did not do a tremendous amount of damage. There were not enough drones killed there. The Muta follow-up could do a lot of damage. ByuN, knowing he's in trouble, has to stay on his back foot and try to defend.
Sure. Now
is Stim done?
Oh, yeah, just
I wasn't
finished.
even watching the tabs. Is Stim finished?
It just finished, yeah.
Okay, good. I was going to say, if he didn't have Stim yet, he might be in a world of hurt right now. But the Mutas can continue to fly around without Medevacs here. Stimming is still a bit of a punish. That's true. If he stims and then the Mutas simply fly away.
And that's a great point that you brought up about the Medevacs, because he's cut the Medevacs out of his build entirely. Besides that first one, he's only relying on Liberators out of his starports. He's going to use that for the defense. He did get those turrets up just in time. And one of the biggest concerns for soO in this game is that his third base is so late. Now, ByuN has a third command center finished, plus he's got triple mules, and he's adding a ton of barracks. He's got 1-1 upgrades on the way as well. And with these positions on Ceres, he can actually start to think about doing some aggressive pushing once he gets enough turrets at home to where he feels comfortable to move out with Stim, a few Medevacs, and those Liberators.
Doing a little bit of harass here. Liberator's not the most nimble units, as you can see here. The Mutas can pick and chew on the edges of the base right now for ByuN. Nice pick off there for ByuN. And, oh, wow, actually, he's got to be very careful with these Liberators, because, you know, you want to chase down those Mutas, but, of course, if you overextend, they can dive on you. Yep. And that's one less Liberator. So right now, air support, whether it be Medevacs or Liberators, is getting lower and lower in numbers.
Now, what's really scary for soO is he doesn't know this push is coming. He just finished his Baneling nest. He has 3 Zerglings on the map and 4 on the way. Not a single Baneling. This bio push with combat shields and Stim and soon to be 1-1 is going to be terrifying. He's just going to simply ignore these Queens. Mutas are not going to be the defense. He needs Banelings, but he doesn't even have Zerglings, Tasteless.
He's been a bit disjointed here. Muta's not with the Queens. Nothing really connected. He's going to try to take out that Medevac. Now, the problem for the drones right now is they can't be evacuated effectively. He rotates the drones around.
He didn't have Larva. He has 14 Lings in production. He's got low Lings really on the map. Now that Stim that you were talking about is really coming back to bite down here, and it looks like soO will hold, but a ton of damage done nonetheless.
Whoa, okay, getting away from those Widow Mines there.
Well, that could have been even worse.
I got to say, that was pretty impressive. The Stim with basically no healing support there. He did get some drones. We look at the worker count for a second. 59 drones to 53 SCVs. And the third base is being acquired here, so ByuN is doing an okay job. The only problem is he's lost a big bulk of every one of his attacks.
Sure. Now he's going to do a follow-up
attack, and it's 110 supply to 96. So adding the numbers together, this actually might be enough to be a serious threat. And I don't think there's even enough Banelings out.
There's 3 Banelings morphing. They're not even ready yet. I don't think they are going to be ready. Tastes, here we go. Liberation zones have been planted. The creep is being pushed back. Not a single Baneling will actually participate in this fight. And this is a tiny bioforce, but we have no attacking units to support. it's enough to win the game. Let's see if he can actually follow through and make it happen.
You know what, man? He might just have enough.
I think he does.
He might just have enough if this attack doesn't go perfectly, because he's going to actually gun down the Lings as they hatch. It's tougher for the Mutas to engage in over here. Here they come now.
Okay, but the Mutas need to spread, and they are not, and that is going to be game over. ByuN will take game number 1. So many fans in the studio coming to see him at his first offline tournament in years, and he is defeating one of the best Zerg players in the world. And with a unique play, he sneaked Marines past the Overlords and actually was able to attack soO at his most vulnerable moment.
We don't
where he
normally
drones
see
once.
Terrans push out with basically no heal support. I mean, that one medevac was not going to be enough to make a big difference. However, Zerg was just not prepared. We saw the Queens in one spot. I believe he killed a spine crawler that was morphing there. Mutas were too far away. Okay, so I've casted a lot of StarCraft too, and you probably experienced this as well, where you're watching, and I'm like, yeah, man, ByuN's pretty good. Our monitor's right over here. I'm like, he's doing fine, you know, but it's soO, so there's absolutely no way that soO will lose to this attack. And then, you know, when you look at it logically, it's like, well, no, actually, Zerg is completely out of position. Even though soO played very well back there, he got in there, and once he started killing all those drones, yeah, the follow-up attack is going to take out Zerg very easily. And getting on top of that hatchery, making it tough for the Mutas and the Muta-Ling synergy to actually work for the Zerg, because they're not able to connect in the way that Zerg wants them to.
Sure.
He punished them. He took them out. Are we going to have 2 upsets today?
It could happen, Tasteless. We're already halfway there in our second one now.
This is crazy.
What we saw in that last game as well was just soO having 3 Zerglings versus a huge pack of Stim Bio with combat shields with nearly 1-1. And that's the big story. He didn't have a Baneling Nest. He was relying on his Mutalist purely to harass, and the Liberators, you know, basically shut that down. Even got a kill on the Liberator. I think he was feeling pretty good. There's no way he's going to attack me. And that was an oversight because ByuN sneaked those units by. The Baneling Nest was done, but he didn't have any Lings. He didn't have any Larva because he just droned heavily.
You know, one thing about Banelings is they make so fast, you can basically make them in real time. Too much from that, since we haven't even had that many Legacy of the Void games yet. But is that an upset, or will this maybe be a trend? We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's what we'll have to wait and see. Now let's talk about these 2 up-and-coming players that we're about to watch right now. soO, one of the best Zerg players in Korea, considered to be the best player, getting runner-up at all the tournaments.
Look at his hand. He's beckoning. We had a pretty incredible best of 3 there. Huge upset.
Yeah, a huge upset already. Innovation, one of our 3 Terran players, and one of the big favorites of the tournament. You know, one of the best players we had of all time in Heart of the Swarm, one of the top players at the end of its lifetime, is now out of this tournament, all-in twice. And, you know, it really does kind of make you think about how harsh this format is for me.
Wolf, I feel myself getting closer and closer to the monitor. Now, good to have this guy back, ByuN.
This guy has not been in a televised match since the 2013 GSL Season 1 of Codes, where he dropped out in the round of 32. He has not played any offline matches that were televised in years. People make jokes for some of these players right now.
Absolutely. And I don't want to sound like a dark prophet here, but let's keep in mind that a lot of the players that we saw who were very good in Wings of Liberty did not do well in Heart of the Swarm. We don't know if the players who are really dominant in Heart of the Swarm are in fact going to do very well in Legacy of the Void. So I'm just going to put that out there. You don't have to take Welcome back to the SSL. I'm Tasteless. With me is Wolf. And